Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everybody. You are highly welcome to economics class. Today, I want us to look at national income as one of the topics that we have in the subject economics. Even though the topic has been treated with us earlier on, but to serve as a reminder and a revision, since you are preparing for your final exam. So I want us to look at one or two things under this very topic in order to serve as a quick reminder. But to start with, today we shall look at the circular flow of income, the concept of savings, investments, and consumption, as well as the concept of propensities. Before we go on, I would like us to quickly look at what national income is all about. When we talk about national income, it simply refers to the total money value of all goods and services produced in a country in a year. That is, the monetary value of all the productive activities that are carried out by the citizens within a country in a year, both living at home and abroad. Having said that, we have certain concepts underlying this very topic. Concepts such as GDP, which is gross domestic product, GNP, gross national product, NDP, net domestic product, NNP, net national product, and so on and so forth. As I said, we are only going to limit ourselves to these identified sub-aspects of the topic. Circular flow of income. What do you mean by circular flow of income? As the name suggests, in economics generally, economists consider an economy as being made up of two sectors. That is, an economy, every economy is usually considered as being divided or made up of two sectors or actors. And these two sectors are known as the household sector, which is also called private sector. While the second one is known as the firm or business. These are the two major sectors that make up an economy. When we now talk about circular flow of income, we are simply talking about the movement of money and other productive resources between these two major actors within an economy. And it has to be well understood that in national income, the household sector is seen as that sector of the economy that does not engage in any productive activities. That is, a sector that does not involve itself in the production of goods and services. While the second sector, known as the business sector or firm, is that sector of the economy that engages in productive activities. So in national income, the productive resources that are required in carrying out productive activities are possessed by this household sector. And when we talk about the productive resources, we are talking about the factors of production: land, labor, capital, as well as entrepreneur. These resources are possessed by the household, which does not engage in productive activities. While the second sector, which is known as the business sector, business firm, or government, is the other sector that engages in the production of goods and services, but does not possess the factors of production. Hence, there is a need for both sectors to collaborate and engage in exchange in order for them to have what they do not have. For instance, before the business sector can engage in productive activities, it requires the factors of production. Since we all know that production can never take place without the factors of production. In that case, the business sector also meets with the household sector for the supply of these productive resources, but also giving their rewards in exchange. That is, when the household sector supplies the factors of production to the business firm, the business firm have to pay in returns for the product, for the productive resources being supplied in form of wages and salaries, interest, and the likes. Having supplied the business firm with the productive resources, this will now enable the business firm to engage in production of goods and services. And mind you, business firm is a business in order for the purpose of engaging in productive activities in order to maximize profit. Meaning that the goods and services that the business firm intends to produce are meant to be sold in order to generate revenue and at the end of the day to make a profit. So when the goods and services are produced, they are usually supplied to the household sector for consumption. And by so doing, this usually makes the household sector also to pay for the goods and services being supplied to the household sector by the business firm. So in summary, the circular flow of income can best be defined as the movement of money and other productive resources from the business sector for the use of the factors of production and the payment for goods and services that are also supplied by the business firm to the household sector. That is that about the circular flow of income. And this can be diagrammatically illustrated as follows. We have this. This is the household sector. This is the business. Business firm. Government. So the very first thing that usually takes place is that the household sector usually supplies the business firm with the productive resources. So look at the direction of the arrow indicating that the movement of the resources from the household sector to the business firm. So we have factors of production. So having received the productive resources, the business firm usually compensates the household sector returns by giving the rewards of the productive resources in form of wages, rents, interest, and profits. So after the supply and factors of production and their payment in returns by the business firm in return will now make use of the productive resources to produce goods and services, which are usually supplied to the household sector for consumption. After the supply of the goods and services by the business firm to the household sector will have to also pay in returns for the goods and services supplied to it by the business firm. So this is the graphical illustration of the circular flow of the income. The next thing to consider are the concept of savings, investment, and consumption. These three concepts also are very essential for every economic student to understand, as most students usually find it difficult to distinguish among them. But for you to have better understanding, I would like to denote the two major sectors algebraically. The very first function indicates household sector, while the second one is for the business firm. This one basically explains how each sector utilizes their income, whatever income generated by them at any given point in time. In economics, this one denotes income. Y stands for consumption. S represents savings. So in as much as we said initially that household sector does not engage in any productive activities, so there is the basis for investment does not come in. So this is the way and manner in which the household sector usually makes use of its income. Part of the income is usually spent on goods and services, while the remaining one is usually saved for future purposes. So by so doing, when you talk about C, which means consumption, as I've said earlier on, consumption can simply be described as the part of income that is spent by the household. Let's say for instance, we have an individual whose income is 200 naira. Out of this 200 naira, you usually spend 150 naira on basic things that are required, such as shelter, clothing, feeding, and so on and so forth. So what this simply means is that the individual household whose income is 200 naira, you usually spend 150 naira out of the 200 naira income generated, while the remaining 50 naira is usually saved to cater for the future occurrences. So therefore, this 150 naira, which falls under consumption, is the part of income that is spent. So we cannot describe consumption as part of income which is spent on goods and services, while savings can be described as part of income that is not spent. So therefore, part of income which is not spent is described as savings. So that has explained savings and consumption. Consumption is a part of income that is spent on goods and services, while savings is part of income which is not spent. Then coming down to investment. Investment component relates to the business sector, which is the sector of the economy that engages in productive activities, the one that engages in production of goods and services. So they too usually spend their income in two different ways. Part of their income is usually spent on goods and services that also translate to their own consumption, while the remaining one is used for business purposes. So investment can therefore be described as the expenditure that is made on physical assets which are meant to be used for production of other goods and services in order to create more wealth. That is investment. So from what we have just demonstrated, you agree with me that individual or household usually spend part of the income, which is consumption, while they usually save the remaining one, which is what? Savings. As far as for business sector, part of their income also usually spent on goods and services, which is also called consumption, while the remaining part of the income is used for business purposes, and that is described as investment. That is described as investment. So that explains savings, investments, and consumption. Our final last subtopic that we shall be looking at today is the concept of propensities. Propensities. For the purpose of this class, we shall look at two different forms of propensities, which are MPC and MPS. So these are the two forms of propensities that we shall be looking at. We have marginal propensity to consume, generally known as MPC, and marginal propensity to save, which is called MPS. We shall now look at this one after the other. When we talk about marginal propensity to consume, the word marginal means additional. I've always told you, anywhere you come across the word marginal, it means additional or extra. You can call it additional, you can describe as what? Additional or marginal or change, if you like. And you should understand that you cannot have additional if there are no two what? Variables. You can only have additional when two variables are involved. So when we now talk about marginal propensity to consume, it means the the change in the level of consumption as a result of a change in the level of income. That is MPC. Change in consumption resulting from a change in the level of income, which means it is possible for the household to change its level of consumption, as in to either increase or reduce the amount being spent on consumption. But this is only based on a factor, on a condition. The condition is that a consumer can only be able to vary its level of consumption if there has been a change in its level of income. Ceteris paribus. There can only be a change in your level of consumption when there is a change in your level of income. And MPC is calculated as this. It is calculated as change in consumption all over change in income, which means the ability of your consumption to change is dependent on your level of income. Your consumption can change if only there is a change in your level of income. Let's take for instance, we have somebody whose income is 200 naira. And when this person was receiving 200 naira as income, he used to spend 150 naira of it, while he used to save 50 naira, according to our previous explanation. 50 naira is spent on goods and services, and 150 naira is spent on goods and services, while the 50 naira is what? Is saved. As far as this individual's level of income stands as 200 naira, his consumption will remain as what? 150 naira, and what? Savings as what? 50 naira. Ceteris paribus, other things being equal. So we're not saying that the condition that only make this person to change his level of consumption, as in either to increase it, is if there is a change in his level of income. Let's now assume that this person's income has now increased to 300 naira. Now, from the new income that we now have, there is now an increase in his level of income from 200 naira to 300 naira. When this occurred, it enabled him to increase his what? Consumption level from 150 naira to 200 naira. You can now see now that this consumer was able to increase his consumption level because there has been a change in his level of income from 200 naira that it used to be to 300 naira. That's how we define marginal propensity to consume as a change in consumption as a result of a change in income, which means your consumption level depends on your level of income. That is that. Now, from this data that we have, we can calculate our MPC. Since I've told us that it is calculated as well, change in consumption all over change in income. Now, how do you get this change? MPC, change in consumption over change in income. You have a change when you find difference between two variables. So our change in consumption will be equal to C2 minus C1, where C2 means new income, new consumption level, which is what? 200 naira in this case. While C1 is what? Initial consumption level, which was 150 naira. So by considering that, we can now be able to get our change. Then change in income, that will be what? Y2 minus Y1. That is our new level of income minus old level of income. Our new level of income is what? 300 naira. Our old level of income was what? 200 naira. Then without these variables, we should be able to calculate our what? Our marginal propensity to consume, which will now be our C2 is what? Our C2 is 200 naira minus our C1, that is 150 naira, all over our Y2, that's new income level. It is now 300 naira minus our initial income level, 200 naira. So this will now give us 200 naira minus 150 naira, we have 50 naira divided by 300 naira minus 200 naira will give us 100 naira. Then we decide to reduce the fraction, this cancels this, 0 cancels 0, 5 here 1, 5 in 10, 2. That is 1 over 2. So which means or is 0.5. Which means our marginal propensity to consume is 1 over 2 or is 0.5. That is our marginal propensity to consume. Let's now move over to marginal propensity to save. Marginal propensity to save is known as MPS. Like I said earlier on, marginal means additional, change. So MPS can be described as a change in savings as a result of a change in the level of income. So which means individual household also can only be able to change its level of savings if there is a change in its level of income. So for savings to change, there must be a change in the level of income. It is also calculated as change in savings all over change in income, which means our savings also depends on our level of income. You can only increase your savings level if there's an increase in your level of income. That is that. Analyzing this thing further also, to get the change in savings, that is S2 minus S1. That is the present level of savings minus old level of savings divided by change in income. That is also what? Y2 minus Y1. Where Y2 stands for what? New level of income. Then Y2 is what? Our old level of income. Using the same illustration given, somebody whose income was 200 naira initially, using our previous illustration, a consumer whose initial income was 200 naira, but that has now gotten increased level of income to 300 naira. When he was earning 200 naira, he was only able to save 50 naira. But as a result of increase in his level of income from 200 naira to 300 naira, he is now able to save 100 naira. Using these variables, we should be able to calculate our marginal propensity to save as well, which is a change in savings all over change in income. And I've told you, to get change in savings, it is new level of savings minus old level of savings. Then to get our change in income, it is our new level of income minus the old level of income. So using what we have, our NPS we calculate as S2 100 naira minus S1, that is old level of income 50 naira, divided by Y2 new level of income 300 naira minus Y1, which was 200 naira. 100 naira minus 2 naira, it will give us 50 naira, divided by 300 naira minus 200 naira. This will give us 100 naira. Then reducing the fraction, this will cancel out this. 0 cancel 0, 5 there 1, 5 and 10, 2. We also have 1 over 2 or 0.5. That is also our marginal propensity to save. It's also our. Now, there is one important thing that I would like you to note here. You should understand that the addition of MPC and MPS is always 1. So whenever you are given a problem or question involving propensities in your exam, the best way that you can use to confirm what you have calculated is to ensure that when you add the answer you have gotten for your MPS with that of your MPC, the summation must give you 1. Anything other than that is what? It is wrong. So from what we have done, our MPC, we got 1 over 2. MPS also we got 1 over 2. Then when we add the two together, that is MPC plus MPS, I said it is always equal to 1. So when we now add that, our MPC is 1 over 2 plus MPS 1 over 2. Then we are going to have 1. Which means either MPC or MPS is always less than 1. You can never have MPC up to 1 or more than 1. If you have any answer that is like that, it means you are wrong. MPC is always less than 1, MPS is always less than 1 because the addition of the two is always equal to 1, as demonstrated on the marker board. So that is that about the propensities. As a summary, we talked about circular flow of income. We discussed savings, concept of savings, investment, and consumption. And finally, we discussed the concept of propensities. And we are made to understand under the circular flow of income that economists consider the economy as being made up of two sectors. The sector that possesses factors of production and consumes the finished goods and services, which is described as the household sector or private sector. And also the second sector, which is called the business firm or government. This is the sector that makes use of the factors of production to produce goods and services and also give the rewards or the factors of production. Under the concept of savings, investment, and consumption, we are made to understand that when we talk about consumption, it is described as the part of income that is usually spent on goods and services, while savings is described as part of income that is not spent. Then talking about investment, we said investment involves the expenditure that is made on physical assets which are used in the production of other goods and services in order to generate more wealth. Finally, we talked about the concept of propensities. We looked at marginal propensity to consume, which is MPC. We also consider marginal propensity to save, which is MPS. We said the summation of MPC and MPS is always equals to 1. That is, when you add MPC and MPS together, it must give you 1. And by so saying, it means that MPC is always less than 1. Also, MPS is always less than 1. You cannot have MPC. You cannot have a change in your level of consumption without having a change in the level of income. You can also not have a change in your level of savings without having a change in your level of income. Ceteris paribus. So that brings us to the end of our class. Inshallah, your assignment on this very topic will be made available to you in your page. I will encourage you to attempt it, get it submitted, so that I'll be able to go through it and assess you. May Allah put barakah. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.